And we are live. Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today on PUP TV. Today, we're going to get into a lot of stuff. So, firstly, oh my gosh, the comments are already going off. Okay, hold on.
Oh wait.
All right. As always, everyone, before we get into this, make sure you say hello, tell us where you're watching from, and give us 2.5 as we get this live stream set up. And as always, I know that a lot of you are just tired of this, but we're going to play the Nintendo Mii music because it calms my nerves as we begin to settle on. This is very loud all of a sudden. Very loud. Hold up. Oh, too loud. Okay. All right. Give us 2.5. Again, we're getting things set up. Make sure you tell us where you're watching from. Oh, you're at work. That's man, don't just leave work. Just leave work. All right. So, a few announcements. I've been telling y'all for a while that we were going to be doing a giveaway. It's been like 2 months since I first said that, and now here we are. We are doing the giveaway.
Giveaway!
Giveaway! Alright. Puppy, what are we giving away? It may not be very obvious to some users.
Can you tell?
Can you tell what we're giving away? Alright, so we have partnered with forfun.store. Check them out on their website to give away not just one, but 2 custom pet suits. And they look like this. Okay, are you gonna go ahead? Yeah. Woo! Look at how fun! Oh wait, I gotta do my 360. 360. Hey! Ow! That booty though. So, I mean, I need a little bit more. I need a little bit more. I'm working on it. I'm working on my JLo booty. But yes, so we will be giving away 2 custom fursuits and pet suits. They're made out of spandex. They're really nice. You can choose your colors. You can do like it's gonna be great. So the link is in the video description. If you just click it, you'll be taken to a landing page where you can, yes, with tails even, yes. I will say, it's been a while since we've done this, and I was like sitting here playing with my tail like the cowardly lion. I was like, oh, we're gonna do a stream. So anyways.
And there's zippers in the right places.
You can get zippers in all the right places. Read between the lines. So anyways, make sure you click the link. In addition to the 2 pet suits that we are giving away, we are also giving away 2 insertable tails. I would show you what those look like, but Facebook would not be happy. So use your imagination or check out their store. Again, I think we're set. I think we're ready.
I think so. You have different groups than I do. So
I have like a million different. forfun.store. We'll have that up here. All right, so let me kill the Wii music here because like now I need to go into focus. All right, so we need a comment. We need a showcase of zippers working as desired. Check out my Twitter. So, anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started and start introducing our panelists. I'm so excited. Today's topic is furries. We're gonna be talking about all things furries. I think this has probably been one of our most requested live streams, so I'm really excited to get into this and introduce our panelists. So, without further ado, welcome. Hold on, where's my button? Here it is. Hello and welcome, everybody. Everyone say hi. You're now live.
You're now live.
Hi.
I know. All right, so again, thank everybody for joining us on the live stream. I am already burning up. I've got spandex and neoprene, and I'm just dying. I'm sorry. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go around the group. Everybody, just take a few minutes to introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you. We're gonna go ahead and start off with Symphony. Go ahead and take the stage.
Hi. I'm Symphony, also known as Pup Jane. I've been in the furry fandom since 2014, been a puppy since 2012. I've been a puppy since 2014, and thank you for having me on.
All right, and then that's cute. Nice. Oh, okay. I've got so many questions. I'm gonna be so excited. I'm sorry. All right, and then I'm gonna butcher your furry name, Ryukuba, right?
You did it.
I did it. Oh yes. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Ryukibo. I am a furry from Denver, Colorado. I've been a furry for about 10 years now. It started out with me reading Warrior Cats and doing Warrior Cats RPGs online. Then somebody introduced me to the furry fandom through DeviantArt, and it became inseparable for me. Like, I have a Wusky as my persona. It's a wolf and a husky mixed, and I just love using the fandom as a place to express myself and explore socializing with different people in different ways.
Awesome. And then last but not least, we have CrossFox.
Hey everyone. Yes, I'm CrossFox, formerly known in the fandom as CrossFox Coon, if anybody out there may remember me. I've been a furry since discovered it around 2003, but then started becoming active 2007 and onward. And yeah, my persona has developed primarily into a fox-raccoon hybrid, hence the CrossFox Coon. And to me, discovering the fandom, and the fandom has become to me kind of a modality of interacting with people, and an exciting, sometimes creative, sometimes kinky, way of engaging and meeting people.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, we're going to get right into the questions. Everybody who's watching from home, as always, this is a live Q&A. Make sure that you comment your questions, and we will try to get everybody as time allows. So, first, it seems like everybody's answered the first question, like how you got started and how you get involved. But I think that a lot of times, just like with pup play, the immediate association with fursonas and puppies or any type of pet is that it's strictly a kind of a sexual kink. What are your kind of viewpoints about sexuality through the furrydom, and how does that maybe image need to be altered? And I should have said this, but jump in whenever you want. There's no specific order, but just share your thoughts and your opinions. Like, this is the discussion's gonna get real, so just jump in.
Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. The furry fandom is definitely distinct from the pup community in how the furry fandom has many distinct sects that are different for different things. Some people are into the art, some people are into doing music and stuff like that, some people are into fursuiting, some people are into the kinky stuff, but the community isn't solely defined by being sort of a kink community. It also includes children and much older people and people that are dabbling in all sorts of different art and social areas.
Symphony, did you? Oh, sorry. I just want, like, I know that Symphony had something to say.
Pretty much going the same direction, but like for me and my partner, we are both extremely, we sexualize our fur like the average person would, because we both make adult content with our fursuits and in our fetish leather gear as well. So for us personally, our worlds bleed together a lot more. And as they said, that the furry fandom in itself is not I guess you could say, a sexual identity like pup play can be. And even though pup play is based in kink, pup play is not sexual for everyone. So that's kind of when they have that similarity, that some people just get a comfort out of being in these fandoms and dressing up in these costumes. It's a form of escapism for a lot of people. Yeah.
I would definitely second what both Ryukiba and Symphony said. Like, it absolutely, I mean, coming from the furry perspective, which I'm more familiar with, it has many different facets. And some furries are specifically into artwork and comic books, while others are much more inclined to go for literature or fursuiting and fursuit making. And there could be any blend of all of these things. And I know, and absolutely, there's no way of denying it, that there is absolutely a sexual side and a kinky side to the furry fandom, as there is in the puppy side. But I guess a distinction from what I can observe is in the pup subculture, it is primarily, not exclusively, but primarily a fun and flirtatious and playful thing that involves the puphood. And whereas furry doesn't have to be. In fact, a lot of furries just interact online or just do art commissions. Or just go to conventions, but they don't meet up with furries in the local area. So yeah, and maybe, but there's just more I'm sure I don't know about the puppy fandom that maybe we may have in common.
Right. I want to kind of rehash something. I think most. I want to, I guess, maybe explore how y'all were introduced into to furries, just to just expand on that a little bit more, because I think I distinctly remember as a kid. I want to say it was like some CSI show, and in this CI whatever, I don't watch those shows, but I was a kid, and it was like that was my introduction, there was this murder mystery, and it had something to involve with furries, and it was very eroticized. And I think that a lot of people do pair furries as being some sort of kink. Would you? I guess so. Maybe from your perspective, do you associate being a furry as part of the kink community then, or no?
It can be. A furry definitely, it can be considered a kink. Because it goes hand in hand with pet play. You are assuming the mannerisms of a character that you created, and it's based on an animal. So that's where they come together, and that's it's hard to say. It's hard to explain because they're very similar, but they're also very different. So they both have the same characteristics and a lot of the same interactions and hierarchies and stuff like that. And a lot of people who are also kinky in the furry community are also part of a local fetish group organization. They are part of the lifestyle, so they come together with the same type of rules.
I definitely think that the furry fandom, it's more of something that you take on as an identity as opposed to something that you take on as a kink. So it can evolve with how your identity evolves. So if a person becomes more sexual, their persona might express that as part of their identity and reflecting that in their own light.
Yeah.
I definitely second that. I agree with both of you guys. And also, I think another distinction, what distinguishes the furry fandom from the pup subculture are the origins. I think a lot of, I can only speak for myself, my affinity towards animals and anthropomorphism, animals with human characteristics, are really sparked by Disney movies. And I know for a fact a lot of furries can relate. They have their favorite Disney movie that they were enchanted by, and heck, even had fantasies about. And, eventually we discovered there's a whole community that's based on embracing that fantasy world, and and embracing our alter egos. And just like Ryukiba said, it reflects who we are as people. or who we aspire ourselves to be or want to imagine ourselves. And whereas the pup subculture, and by all means correct me if I'm wrong or fill in the gaps, but from my understanding, the pup subculture is more founded in the BDSM and leather and kink play. And not to say that people in the BDSM, in the pup subculture also have a soft spot for animals or Disney movies too. But yeah, that's the big distinction. One thing I would add too, it's hard to box these things because the truth is human behavior, there's always overlap and people are so multifaceted.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I think, as puppies, we acknowledge that our, like, pet play was heavily originated in BDSM and in kink. But now I think as, like, specifically pup play becomes, I don't want to say. I want to say like more accessible. As pup play becomes more accessible, people are choosing to redefine what pup play looks like. For me personally, I know that when I'm doing my live streaming, that's like my version of pup play. It started off as a infatuation with the gear, and then it evolved into like I do identify I do identify as a puppy more often than not, but and so those spaces are more than just sexual spaces for me, you know. And so like when I go to work, I'm a puppy. When I come home, I'm a puppy. Like in the bedroom, sometimes mostly I'm not a puppy. So, it definitely has changed and it has evolved for me. Um yeah, like
Yeah, I mean,
because you're a little
I'm
bit
a
different.
well, no, I'm kind of this similar because I'm like a total gear pup, right?
Right.
So I don't really get into the headspace as much, especially because my background is cosplaying. So I just like I love the gear and I love wearing the gear and I'll do little mannerisms, but I don't get into the headspace of being on all fours all the time and like pup out. I was gonna say I think as it becomes more accessible, we change from the old guard kind of style
Right.
to being more accessible and making it more modern in what our everyday style.
Right. Right. It's
I don't
definitely
know how the furry community works. I don't know if they had like an old guard and work. I don't know.
right. I think
I like to see that
accessibility is
again.
something that we should discuss when we're talking about the furry fandom, because from my perspective, and again, a very limited gauge and perspective, is that much like pup play, you are only seen to be a pup if you have gear. Is there the same sentiment in the furry fandom that in order to be a furry, you have to have a fursuit?
That's a big topic in the community. It's been for a very, very long time since fursuit has. There's been a boom in fursuit makers in the past handful of years. Um, so the problem is fursuits are extremely expensive.
Oh my
Like
god, yeah.
right now, the highest average cost of a good fursuit is like $6,000 plus for
Wow.
a full suit
It's a
from a big name
dedication.
maker. Yeah. Luckily, my partner he makes fursuits. He's been making fursuits for 10 years, so I was spoiled a little bit. But there is a lot of discussion if you don't have a fursuit in the fandom or you're not a popular character in the fandom, that you aren't important. Like you are lesser than because you don't get the same level of attention as fursuiters get. And I like to say on my Twitter and stuff like that when these conversations come up that logically fursuiters are going to get a lot of attention because we are the face of what a furry fan of the furry fandom. We are people in animal costumes running around. But within the community, it doesn't make you a better person. Having a fursuit doesn't make you a good person. Having a fursuit doesn't make you a bad person. It's just something that someone was able to save up for to enhance their personal experience within the fandom. So I have to reiterate to people that a fursuit doesn't make you a furry. A fursuit doesn't make you part of the community. It's your interest in the craft, the music, the art, and stuff like that. So it's just like it's a topic that you have to keep educating people on.
Yeah, I would
That
say
was
that's
pretty
definitely
comprehensive.
And I would
had
also add though that because with that's definitely I think that's true. That's even though you don't have to have a fursuit to be considered a furry, it is a prominent and thing that gets you attention. And so it's a lot of furries' goal to get a fursuit. However, there are plenty of people who are in the furry fandom who've been for many years who are very content just being artists and just doing commissions, or people who write awesome fiction and other stuff. And so it's one of those things like you can choose what facet you express yourself as furry, but it's really you who decides to embrace the furry fandom. And yeah, and there's no requirement that you have to have. Badges is another big thing. Having commission badges of your persona is very common, and
Could you explain
yeah, it's
the badge a bit more? Because I have no idea what that is.
this is my first time hearing
I should have
about
bought one of my
badges.
badges to show that.
I have a big collection.
Sure.
Big collection
There's-
at this
it's a
point.
thing?
Yeah, I had no idea.
There's badge. Okay, explain this badge system. I'm stoked.
Totally. And totally, and you guys can add to it at any point. But from my perspective, badge is something much more affordable than fursuits, but a way of expressing who your persona is and who he looks like. And basically, it's a piece of art that's commissioned by an artist that you choose, and you'll meet them at a convention or you meet them at a local furry meet. And they create your persona based on specification, the exact specs that you want. And so in my case, it's a fox raccoon. There's a lot of tan, brown, and gray. But yeah, and you can have him striking unique pose, unique fine. Represent yourself as a furry, both at conventions and meetups.
I just got a badge from a friend a couple weeks ago. Well, actually, I think it's like the beginning of the lockdown. And it does my persona in my favorite drink, which is matcha bubble tea, because she's green. I love food-themed art, especially dessert, because I used to be a chef. So it's just like I love like putting my character in the same color palette foods as my badges.
Okay, so a badge isn't. Because I'm thinking of badge. I'm thinking of like a Disney pin. This is like a commissioned work of art.
Yeah.
Yes.
Usually it's on a lanyard. It's on a lanyard.
It's
Usually.
on a
On a
lanyard.
lanyard?
Yeah. Sometimes it's clipped on too, but yeah, and it's a piece of art. It's you.
I'm learning so much.
Yeah, I've already learned so much today.
I'm like
Here,
wanting.
I was going on my phone. I was looking for a picture of my persona. Let's see if this will show up.
See.
Here, come on, camera.
If you send it, if you send
Come on,
that,
camera.
DM
There
that
we
picture
go.
to me, and I can put it on the screen. If you DM
Okay.
that picture to me,
Okay.
yeah. If y'all want to DM me pictures, I can put them on the screen, and then
Yeah.
people can understand. Because this is the first. Oh my god, my mind is blown. Because this is my first time ever hearing about this
It's
badge
like a
system.
chance to show off my child.
Let me get.
Look at my baby.
Let me move over
Oh,
to
he's in the back.
Facebook real quick.
You don't happen to have any badges, do you?
I don't have any with me.
That's all.
So we're obviously there's way more to the surface level of what it means to be a furry and rituals and things that are happening in the furry community that are more than just the fursuit, like these badges. What are some other things that you think may be hidden from like the face value of furries?
Well, one thing I think a lot of people assume when they hear about furries, and just like the CSI show you watched, I think it was called Fur and Loathing was the name of that episode.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's so funny because that was the first time furry fandom was like projected to the mass audience, and it was the fursuit and kinky sex. But really, that really is just like a small segment of what furries do when they get together. Another thing furries love to do in in a setting of like meetups are dream commissions for each other, for sure, like drawing art for each other. Another one is games, a lot of board games and like Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons, the nerdy stuff, you know.
1 second, we're getting a lot of feedback from someone's
Yeah.
mic. It may be your whoa.
Oh, it was me. Sorry.
Oh.
There's an air conditioner, like right over there.
Ah.
Yeah. So
No.
if Eileen hears, probably that was what
Okay.
it was.
All right, no worries. All right, so I'm gonna pop this one on the screen here. Is this my? Wait, where's my? All right.
Real quick, before you do that, I want to
Oh.
show you some examples of actual furry badges
Okay,
in the
perfect.
physical. And these are from my roommate right now, Akira Ishikawa, and he's another furry in the fandom.
Oh my
And
god.
as you see, they're super cute, adorable as a more feral looking. He's a husky, also a husky Malamute. And here's another one. And let's see. There we go.
There you go.
Yeah. And it could be in any position. You could be drinking or eating, whatever your favorite drink or favorite food is. Or any, expression, body posture, etc.
I love
That's
that.
amazing.
All right, Ryukuba, we've got yours popping on the screen real quick. Wait, where'd my panel go? All right, there we go. There we
Yes.
go. Yeah.
That is my Wesky.
Love it. Tell us about this piece.
So Ryukiba is actually a character that was gifted to me by the first guy I ever dated. He drew him, sort of drafted the general character design off my own style and personality. And after that, I built a kind of character story behind him myself. Something even more, is an energy being, deity, posing as an anthropomorphic creature in the universe to interact with mortals and learn more about society and how things work.
Oh wow. Oh, how okay, let me get this off the screen. I've always envisioned myself, like if I were to immerse myself into the furry fandom as like a little red panda. Like a little red panda. And I'm like, how but my whole thing is like I just didn't know where to start. And what's been interesting is like as I've developed who I am as a puppy, it just seems like there's more visibility around pup play, and that whatever visibility that I find in the furry fandom is online. How do you recommend that people connect with people that are interested in getting started and learning these things? Where do they go?
I would say to start with Twitter. Twitter is everyone
Yes.
on Twitter, and Telegram would be a great place to look. Down the Telegram app and Facebook groups. That way you'll be able to find your local fur community. If you can have any meetups, any small local conventions you could pop in at, and stuff like that. Like social media is a great way to find a lot of these subculture events and groups, just because usually the mass media is not going to promote them anyway. So the internet is for nerds, and we will stay here. We will stay in the internet.
Right. Absolutely. In the puppy world, in pet play, we have different groups and organizations that throw socials. Are those common within the furry fandom as well? Like, are there like local furry chapters? I don't even know what do you call them? Like furry chapters.
Furry meetups.
Yes.
And there's several different furry groups. Yeah, and they're usually based on city, but yes, Denver has a plethora of furry groups that meet up on a monthly or weekly basis.
One of the first ones I ever went to was in Aurora. They've been having it at different village inns. They moved it recently. I don't know where the new location is now, but it's called Aurora Furs.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd all get together at a village inn on a night. Usually, I think it was Mondays, right? Was it Monday?
Thursdays. Those on
Thursday.
Thursdays.
Okay, I'm totally wrong. But all the furries would crash the Village Inn, and we would take over one corner of the restaurant, and everybody else on the other side of the store would just be like, "What's going on over there?"
And there are also furry parties at private residences too. And
Yeah, we
so,
have a monthly party.
yeah. And there was
Yeah,
one
some
that,
of those private parties are kink oriented as well.
yeah.
Ours
Or
are
just,
very-
private, and so therefore you can be more yourself and not have to worry about being publicly seen. And as far as sites, to also, if you're trying to get into the furry fandom and want to look for who's in your local area, Telegram for sure. Instagram, I've heard there's lots of furry groups on there. Fur Affinity used to be the most prominent site for sharing your furriness, whether it's music or commissions or artwork. Furaffinity.net. And there's another one, I'm trying to remember, meetup.com. If anybody's ever used Meetup for interest groups, there's a couple of prominent furry groups on Meetup. A lot of it's also just word of mouth and just knowing and meeting someone who knows someone who's in the fandom, and it just slowly grows from there.
I sent badge pictures to the Facebook group. I don't have any on my current computer down here, but they're for your viewing pleasures later.
Tiffany, we've got your. We're gonna put your badge on the screen now. So tell us about this badge. Okay, this is the boba tea, right?
Yeah.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it's really cute.
Oh, I love it.
And the other one is my most recent ref sheet. I love a little bubble tea badge. My ref sheet for my persona for Symphony. Is a
Use the chat.
The chat box?
spotted hyena.
You see, it says
She
chat.
used to be a spotted hyena / Spanish wolf, but I kind of grew out of my wolf phase. She's just a spotted hyena, and the favorite neon colors and stuff. And I used to dance at conventions, and now that I have a travel pole, I'm going to be doing pole dancing panels at conventions and having safe BDSM chats at conventions and stuff. And I like being a big fuzzy creature.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm already learning so much. Like my brain is like going 100 miles per hour. So I'm so interested now. I wanted to talk about something that I know. I think every subculture and every group. Wait, I want to get to this comment. Wait, I can't wait. Liam says, I can't wait for when E621 website gets mentioned. Does anyone know what that is? E621.
It's a huge art dump website. This is a mass collection of furry art from the late '90s all the way up to now. And it has, it has a suitable for work section and a not suitable for work category. And it's just, if you want to see art, that's a great place to go along with Fur Affinity.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
And if I may clarify, what she means by safe for work and not safe for work is sort of a euphemism we use for it's pornographic or porn's okay, which we call YIF. YIF is furry porn.
Okay.
And if it's safe for work, means it's all just wholesome furry art.
Good. Well, I know what I'm doing after this stream. So,
All right.
I want to. Oh wait, before we move on to the next question, we also have CrossFox. We've got your badge up. Give me 1 second. Let me pull that up. I'm just loving the art. I think that's like what I'm loving like the most. Okay, so tell us about this badge.
It's actually a fox. It should be fox. Yeah. But that one's not it's not a commission. It's specific to me. Mm-hmm. It's a piece of art that I bought and cherished, and it's posted in my apartment. But my actual persona, I'll just show it here, is this is my persona right here. Let me try and get it a little more focused. Right about. Come on, camera.
Come
Come
on,
on,
camera.
camera.
Oh, there
I
it is.
did it.
There it
There
is.
he is. So he is a cross between a fox and a raccoon, and for my persona is completely based on my personality, and it's just my mannerisms and personality. But it's developed over the years. It started out with just being a fox, because foxes I just have a strong affinity to. But I realized I have a lot of qualities that are really more mischievous and nocturnal, and so I'm also part trash panda, because
Yes, trash panda.
and so it's just something that's developed over the years, and it's from me personally, it's based very closely on my personality and mannerisms. But for some, it's actually goes well beyond, like Ryuki Bus, and yeah.
Awesome. I think so. We've been talking about like some of the lighter things and the more fun things about the furrydom. I'm gonna take a pivot from that conversation and talk about I know one of the major issues within our community, the puppy community, is visibility for anybody who is not white cis male. And I find that, because when you get into pup play, like when we talk about gear, we're talking about harnesses, tails, and the hood, and that can cover parts of your body, but there's other parts like your skin that just completely show. And when you go into these different websites with gear and stuff like that, the depiction of pups are white cis gay men. Is that something that you find like parallel to the furrydom, or does the inclusion of art in these full body suits prevent maybe that type of gatekeeping? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm asking? Did I phrase that okay?
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that it prevents it altogether, but on the surface, it definitely makes it less apparent because we are all presenting ourselves with our personas. You don't really know who's behind the face until they reveal themselves to you. It's mostly, I feel like, in the local communities where you start to see more of those things come out. In the online furry community, I feel like it's pretty diverse, and people honestly may not even know quite how diverse it is simply because people don't reveal their real faces. They're just presenting as their persona.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna say on the physical level of going to furry conventions and meetups, one of the strengths or the best qualities I like about the furry fandom is it's the most eclectic group of people compared to any other group I've been with. As far as race, gender, people who are trans. There's a lot of people who are trans in the fandom. A lot of people who are POC, and a lot of people who are even like older or younger. It seems to not target any particular group. Yeah, and online you don't see them their real selves. They're only representing through their personas and depictions of their persona. So it's not even evident what the average race is. So, yeah.
In my experience, maybe I think it's because me being a femme-bodied a black person in the community and someone who follows the after dark scene of the fandom, I can see that people are a lot more honest about their feelings towards the inclusivity and the colors of people in the fandom. Like I've plenty of times I've taken my head off at a room party or meeting an online friend who somehow never saw a real picture of me, say like, "Wow, I didn't know you were black." Or like they make it like it's super surprising that I'm suddenly black, or I've worn my fursuit out on a convention floor, and my fursuit presses my chest down. And I've had people who know me on a surface level as Symphony come up to me and just run their hands down my chest without permission, and they're like, "Oh, you have boobs," or "Oh," they'll say, "Oh, you're a girl," and I'm like, "I'm not a girl, but okay, I have boobies." But there's definitely, especially with the climate right now, there's definitely an underlying issue in the fandom because it is dominated by cis gay white men. It just is. And now more people of color are throwing their own unofficial con events where it's, oh, all people of color will go out to lunch together. I'll have this massive meetup, this unofficial event. And even that's gotten a lot of pushback because we'll have white furries who are like, well, why can they have this party for only people of color or only black furries and we can't have it? And we never said white people weren't invited. Everyone's invited. It's just we're focusing on black people and people of color in the fandom for a second. And people will throw whites only room parties in retaliation and make it kind of pass it off as the same thing when they only did it out of spite and racism. So I think personally that needs to be talked about more in the fandom because I also see it in the kink community. When I was competing as a female back in the day, I tried to push like, why aren't the other girl pups up here? Why are they not competing? Why are they not being encouraged to be in the spotlight when they most definitely exist, but no one calls for them, no one asks about them or like tries to include them. So there's definitely similarities in that. It can be extremely toxic when it comes to race, extremely toxic. And people will just up and leave the fandom and just cease to exist in the fandom and cease to exist in the PUP community because it becomes way too much, especially when you hit the face side.
Oh, frozen.
Source of escapism.
It sounds
Yeah.
like, to me, it kind of sounds like, one of the benefits of the furrydom is that there's this kind of anonymity, whether it's between a fursuit or the art style. But I would have to pose the question: is there also any concern or fear of rejection when you do want to share yourself? Like, are there any thoughts that go through your mind, like, oh, what if this person, like whether it's based on your gender or your race or what have you, how you, like maybe
Oh
even the
yeah.
sound of your voice, or
Oh
like
yeah.
people have these preconceived notions of what the person looks like beneath the furry identity. Is rejection a common thing that you have to navigate in your community?
People definitely deal with issues with that community for sure. I have seen it happen over and over and over again. It's like furries like to tout how inclusive we are, but ultimately it doesn't defeat the fact that we're still humans behind the persona, behind the fursuit, and there are still these human issues essentially at play. So once you drop the ruse and once you start trying to connect with people on a deeper level, you still have to confront those things. So people have to have these conversations regardless of what community it is. It's a universal issue. It's part of the reason why we're confronting it in the bigger picture right now.
Right. Absolutely.
Because really well put. I, as a person who is a cis male, gay male, kind of fit in the norms, admit I'm oblivious to some of the struggles some individuals, who are exploring the furry fandom may experience. But I definitely do recognize and don't doubt there are people who feel and face, for various reasons, ostracized or rejected from the fandom, and there is, I always hesitate to mention this, but there is a subset of furries that has gained some negative press. How would you describe it? It has stirred up some controversy. And there's a subset of furries that call themselves furry raiders.
Oh,
Oh, okay, we gonna get you some
Should-
all up.
Should I leave that?
What
Should I leave that can on? Should I not open
I
that?
I don't know about that.
I open it.
RMFC died.
I'll pop the can open.
That's true.
I got a lot to say.
This killed an entire convention, guys.
It's a drama that's within the fandom that really does not represent us as a whole.
Yeah, it doesn't. But furry raiders are, when it comes down to it, at a base level, they are alt-right furries. At a base level, they are alt-right furries. And that big thing that happened, was it like a couple years ago? They bought out an entire convention. They tried to. Just to make a statement, they basically had to buy out a convention. And that was a huge thing because they're just walking around toting rebel flags, swastikas, the emblems, stuff like that. They don't care. They are the exact opposite of what the furry fandom is and what it is to be like queer. Because a lot of them are queer and they are part of the LGBTQ community. It doesn't make any sense, but they are.
Why?
And I personally don't find them very dangerous. I really don't. But they are a very toxic and negative thing that tries to take power within our mostly very safe community. And they are absolutely not wanted. They are very much a target of big issues in the convention, in the fandom. And they will go after people of color through social media and they will target people and try to emotionally harm people or harm someone's image within the fandom because of the color of their skin or something really stupid, like mute. So yeah,
Wow.
they are a thing that they exist.
I know I'm learning so many
much.
things. Like this kind and it does kind of segue into the next question because the next question that we were gonna ask is are there in the pup community there's there's even subcultures within the pup community. We're now learning about the furry raiders as a subculture. Are there any maybe more positive subcultures or what are the different subcultures within the furry fandom?
Hey. Oh, we got sorry.
The furry fandom can sort of be an umbrella term for a lot of other identities as creatures. It's not just furry creatures. It can also be scalies. There are dragons and other types of reptiles. There are avians. What else?
Shapeshifters.
Yeah, shapeshifters. Some people like to take identities as magical creatures, and there are even some people that are starting to make sonas based off of inanimate objects.
Oh wait. Explain that. If I wanted to be a rock, I could be I don't know. Explain this.
We can get you really stoned. Trust me.
There's literally I think he's a puppy, a dog, and a fighter jet put together. It's one of the cutest fursuits I have ever seen. And it's so cute. He's like a little transformer. I love him.
Wow.
And there's another relatively new subset of furries that are called servalts or sergalt.
Circles.
Sergalts.
Turtle.
And essentially, they're I guess if I'm describing it right, they're a dragon mixed with a shark. And it's kind of an odd combo, but man, people figure out a way to make that combination gorgeous and beautiful. And
It's
so,
like a special species within the fandom. People have closed and open species that they've created themselves, and they kind of bud out like mushrooms. People just build off of that species.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do the groups of the species tend to stick together? Will people that are furry personas that are furry, will they stay together versus scaly versus inanimate, or do they all mix together? I'm just curious how the groups actually go.
It can, but usually it's quite a mix, quite a plethora of different species. But at furry conventions, there are panels specifically for foxes or for canines. Um, but generally, it's quite a mix when you go to a furry meet. But yeah, there's some subgroups that are all, I don't know, like people who are just raccoons or yeah. So it can, not a lot.
On Telegram, we'll have like I'm part of like it's called like hyena meat, and it's just like hyenas with like we eat a lot of meat. We're stinky. We like to roll around in mud. We make cute whoop whoop sounds. So like we'll have the common like camaraderie with each other in our own little online groups. We'll do hyena specific photo shoots or African animal photo shoots and stuff like that. And then like we'll use a lot of like actual nature facts in our communications with each other. So when we see a hyena group, we'll run into a group of spotted dogs or zebras. We'll be like, we have to attack the zebras, or jackals are frenemies. So we'll make jokes and jabs at each other and pass it and stuff. Add a little spice, a little fun to the group setting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, so personally, what is your favorite thing about being a furry? Whether it's like with your own persona or just in the community, what would you say is your favorite thing?
My favorite thing about being a furry is just being able to use my persona as a way of connecting with other people. It's like in my earlier years, I was definitely very, very shy, and it was very, very hard for me to embody the qualities that I wanted to whenever I was socializing, and kind of thinking of the ideas of my persona and that energetic kind of like puppy dog energy, and bringing that into the space whenever I was communicating with people was a great way of creating a segue for myself where there wasn't one originally.
I would say one of my favorite things, uh, totally second what the youth says, but yes, and um, for me, another neat thing about the furry fandom is you really get to, as you explore the furry art and the different groups out there, there's such a rich variety of art and comics and stories, and you're really exploring the depths of cuteness. I think is maybe fair to say, because there's so much art is so captivating, and some of it also goes way off the deep end. It's not for everybody. But the richness of art and literature, I think, is my favorite thing about the furry fan.
I had a similar kind of experience about being painfully shy when I was little. Like I would barely talk to people, and then once I got into cosplay first, that helped me a bit, and it taught me to like work with my hands and like ask for like working advice, like material advice from people online, and putting myself out there in this item that I made in front of strangers to critique and like comment on, and then I get to comment back on their workmanship. And then when I joined the fandom, that was even more of a relief for me because I'm not, in a way, I'm not being myself. I'm being a better version of myself. And when I have my head on and I have my suit on, I can assume a different personality. I can be a more open version of my own personality. Like I used to not dance at conventions, you know, we get the con dances, the raves, and stuff like that. I just be like in my little box step and like too afraid to look at anybody. But I go to a rave in my pup gear or in my fursuit, and I'm all over the place. I'm bouncing around. I'm asking cute girls to dance with me. I'm going on the stage and twerking in front of thousands of people and stuff. And we'll go to lunch in our fursuits, and I can interact with like normal people and like get a smile out of a stranger and stuff. I can point and joke with another stranger. I can see it's just great. It just feels amazing, and I wouldn't trade being a furry for anything, because I even stepped away from cosplaying because the cosplay community got a little toxic, and fursuiting kind of just helped cure that loss for me of cosplaying.
Awesome.
I have a question about the suit.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to know how like hot does it actually get in the suit? Like, how long can you actually stay in it for?
Are we allowed to show
In the head, depending on what they're made of, because this one's made out of foam. I've had a few resin heads and stuff like that. They can get up to 102 degrees in the head itself. You get some people install fans in their head, wear ice packs on their bodies and stuff around their necks to help with that. And some suits just have better not insulation, but they're more breathable and stuff. So yeah, you kind of get numb to the heat, which is not good. People will and have dropped from heat stroke at conventions because they're not listening to their bodies. They're having too much fun. It's usually younger people. They go way too hard. They don't drink enough water, so they'll just drop at cons. But you learn over the few years how to deal with it and how to listen to your body.
Yeah,
it's not uncommon we'll have paramedics arrive at conventions because someone collapses due to heat stroke, or and you can kind of tell that's his first convention because it went all out too hard. They'll even put these strategically placed fans throughout conventions and headless lounges where you can go to take your mask off and cool off. And so yes, it's definitely a thing, managing the heat.
I'm feeling hot in this. I'm like, oh. So, all right, we are about to reach the top of the hour. So I want to go around and I want everyone to share if it's one thing you want our viewers to take away from this stream about the furry fandom. Like, what is the one thing that you want people to know? And we'll go ahead and start with CrossFox, if you don't mind.
One thing I would like people to know who are curious about the furry fandom, once you get past the sex thing, it's not all just that. There's so much more it has to offer. But I want people to know that you don't have to fully commit to it to enjoy it. Like, you can be someone who enjoys furry fandom on the side, or enjoys art a little bit here and there, or you could be more of a connoisseur and have some commissions made for you. Or, for some people, it is a full-on lifestyle every day. And so there's no requirement that you need to be this much into it to be furry.
I have a personal question.
Yeah.
That I just it's a personal question. So anyone that's watching already knows my Bad Dragon obsession, right? And
I have one too.
Yes. For me, I've never been able to identify with a furry persona, but I love, first of all, the community. I love the art. Every time I envision myself in the community, I am still human, but I am partaking with the furrydom. Does that make sense? Is there
almost like a handler to a puppy?
But
not in that relationship.
No, not
but
like
handlers
that. But
totally brought my humans with me to conventions before.
I guess I'm just wondering, is that a thing? Human
furries
mixed with furries?
For human furry allies. They're not necessarily furry and I just made it up on the spot. There are people who go to conventions or to meetups who don't have a persona. And usually they find one eventually after just talking to people and getting people's feedback. But yeah, you don't have to. People are not going to look at you weird or funny just because you don't have a persona. But it is uncommon, I would say, if someone who enjoys the furry fandom, but you don't have to have a persona that you identify with.
Oh, bio dog.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right.
No, you're good.
Symphony, what's one thing that you want people to take away from this live stream?
Sorry if you hear my dogs in the background. I say the takeaway from this is that the furry fandom is a rich, fun, unique community. There's something for everyone within the community, whether you're a dancer, a reader, a singer, artist. There's always a group that you can like join, a little clique, I guess you could say. It's not a good term, but like a little subgroup that you can find and meet friends and stuff like that. And also see it for what it is, that we are people enjoying a fandom. We will never be perfect. People, humans will disappoint you, but you just have to find the right people to keep your experience positive.
Yeah.
And Ryukuba, go ahead. One thing.
All right. I think that people should see that the furry fandom is a wonderful place, a wonderful medium for you to explore the vastness of your identity outside of gender, sexuality, skin color, nationality, all of those roles. When you're in the online world of the furry fandom, you're creating your own persona and stuff. It gives you a blank slate to really look at who you are as a person and what you stand for and what you affiliate to. And I think if people were to embrace more of that, not just in the fandom, but in everyday life, it would be great.
Awesome. Well, I want to thank. Oh, where'd Symphony go?
There we go.
I just wanted to again thank everyone for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
Today, and well, if people want to get in contact with you, what we'll do is when we post this video, we can share your handles to your Twitter, your Instagram, or wherever you want people to be redirected. But again, I want to thank you for spending the last hour and some odd minutes with us. And yeah, that's
Yeah. Do they have any platforms?
Do y'all want to plug anything real quick?
Mine's at Ryukuba on Instagram.
There you go.
Yeah, for me on Instagram, CrossFox 2x. Oh, excuse me, that's Telegram. On Telegram, I'm on there as CrossFox 2x, no space. Facebook, it's just going by my human name, Antonio Robinson. But yeah, that's how it can be.
Anything you want to plug? Oh, doggy.
Oh, puppy.
Oh, see the tail.
Awesome. Well, again, thank everybody so much for joining us today. And don't forget that we are doing the petsuit giveaway. The link is in the description. We'll post everyone's contact information when we do the edit of this video in a few days. But until next time, everyone, thank you again for joining us, and everyone have a wonderful evening.